I started writing, to be fair, probably at like uni, which was
Okay.
over 10 years ago now, showing my age. But back then it was kind of more like I always grew up listening to hip hop and rap and stuff. So all my content was a bit more freestyly and just wordplay and playing around.
Yeah.
And then I kind of, did in my early 20s and mid 20s kind of finding myself, especially the journey with sexuality and coming out, that kind of stuff. So the writing kind of went to one side. And then when I was comfortable with myself, the last 5-6 years, I kind of picked the pen back up and started writing more about that kind of stuff. So yeah, the content leaned more towards spoken word,
Yeah.
just because it's an emphasis on the words and the story.
Yeah.
And I've kind of just gone on from there. Obviously, a lot of my material is sexuality based and identity based, and I've had people who aren't in the LGBTQ plus community, and they said, like, "Oh my god, I never knew that was the case, or I never had to think about that." And you forget that other people deal with things that you don't have to deal with, which is what I was saying to you earlier about your piece that I couldn't relate to, but I could understand. And then, then you kind of see what other people have to deal with, and you're more compassionate towards it. And
Definitely.
yeah, that's why the spaces are really like wholesome and welcoming. So yeah, you got to keep doing it. Got to keep performing the right pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't really perform that stuff probably until like 2 years ago. I think it was the first 2.5 years ago, maybe the first like kind of open mic.
Wow.
Sort of thing I did.
Was your first performance?
Yeah.
About 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2.5 years ago, I
wow.
think.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't. It's funny. Well, at the time it wasn't that funny, but I didn't realise it was a poetry slam the first night I went to. So it was a competition. I didn't know what poetry slam was.
Oh my God, yeah. I've only just figured out what a poetry slam is like in the last few months.
And so I was, like even more nervous because I kind of thought, okay, well, if I'm getting up and just people are like listening and great, but if they're actually judging you.
Yeah.
There's
more pressure on it.
Yeah. So that was fun. I came second, which I'll take.
Oh, wow.
No,
that must have been like, oh my God, I've gone to my first poetry night ever. It's a slam and then I've come second.
Yeah, which is great. That was a good confidence boost.
Yeah.
And yeah, kind of just gone on from there really. So that, yeah, it's great and it's so therapeutic and it helps just tell your story.
So what else? So you said you talk about sexuality and identity. What kind of is there any other subjects? Because obviously I've only heard 2 pieces of yours. Is it kind of, does most of your work fit into that realm?
Not all of it. I think that's obviously like a big part of it. The other stuff's kind of, I don't know, there's a lot of political stuff and topical things about what's going on in the world.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, always. Yeah. And then I do a lot of like millennial life and social media and kind of, that kind of stuff. It's a whole mix, but always things that I've experienced and gone through and I need to get off my chest and try and educate other people on.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's a good place to vent and also to educate other people from.
Yeah.
Do you find that you write more about, make more poems about situations that you're probably currently struggling with, or does it just vary, or is it just depend on what you're going through?
Yeah, it varies. It really varies. And I don't know if you two find the same, but I don't know, like similar to you, the notes on my phone, it's just loads of random thoughts.
Is it?
And some of them be ones like you said, you'll be cycling past and see something, then and it'll trigger something, and then you'll write about it. Or if you're in a certain mood and you need to get out of it and you start writing, and then that's very current as to what you're going through. But but then other times it's, I don't know, you'll get a reminder or you'll get triggered by something that happened in the past, and you're like, blimey, I didn't know how to deal with that. And then you're kind of writing is your way of dealing with it. So yeah, it's a whole mix. But yeah, no, it's interesting because I started off doing more, I never really listened to poetry growing up or reading it. I actually never read poetry. I don't read many books, to be fair.
No, neither did I.
Yeah.
No.
And I think also like in your English class at school, the poetry was very like,
Yeah, long.
Oh, yeah, really long. Yeah, long. Just like really old.
The owl,
right? All that, like really just weird, not weird pieces. Just
you have to translate the language first and then get to what it means, and it's not the same. I get that.
You really had to dissect it, and more for like not the right purposes. You couldn't take
Yeah.
out what it meant for you. It was more like what it meant for the exam board.